Hello guys, good morning. This is the first video for Modern Out, and I'm excited today because Modern Out has been very inspirational to me, and I feel like I was told recently actually that a lot of people don't like reading. Well, I know it's true. I know it's true. And so I decided to start making videos for the things I communicate with my Christian brothers and sisters on wordernow.com. That's why I'm making this video today. And congratulations, you actually seen my first video. So without wasting time, I would go straight to the passage of today, which is James chapter 1 from verse 2 to 18. Now, in these videos and the subsequent videos to come, I'm just going to do a summary of these passages. If you want to know the detail about the things I'm talking about here, you go to my blog or my website is wordernow.com and you would learn a lot, I bet you. And so now we all go through sufferings. I bet everyone on earth goes through challenges and sufferings, and even though you're rich, you still have some kind of challenges you're facing. I was watching an interview with Jim, the guy that acted the Passion of Christ. He made a comment that caught my attention. He said, everybody wants the resurrection, no one wants the suffering, which is going very significant with what we are going to talk about today, which is suffering, trials and tribulations and challenges as a Christian. Some churches, some ministers of God try to preach hope, try to preach prosperity, try to remove the suffering aspect of Christ. Christ is never complete without the suffering. Actually, the suffering is one of the major parts of Christ, because without the suffering, there will be no resurrection, there will be no glory. So, this passage of the Bible today is trying to tell us that we should embrace these sufferings, these challenges when we get them. We need to embrace it, because these are the things that will make us rich. Actually, not rich, but that will make us royalty after this life to claim our inheritance. Because one thing God looks at is not your earthly possessions. God doesn't care about your millions, He doesn't care about your mansions. You will leave all those things and die. What He cares about is where you will spend your eternity. That's why He said here in James chapter 1, I'm reading from on verse 12, he said, in verse 12, he said, "Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love Him." So God's actual desire and God's purpose for us is to achieve that crown of life. The crown of life, I'm not talking about being rich, being successful here on earth. I'm talking about life after death. Here, I take this world to be just a transition. I was talking with someone just today. We were thinking, oh, a child comes into this world, he or she stays with the parents. She leaves the parents, she gets married, he gets married, they have their own child. The parents stay lonely, He or she begins to stay with her child. The child grows up, leaves home, they become lonely again, and that's the phase, that's the way it's going to go until you die. You're alone, you find a partner, you get married, you have kids, the kids break out, you're alone again, and you die. So Jesus Christ simplified our walk here. He broke it down to a certain level where it's very easy when he said, love one another and be kind to each other. I began to understand lately that when you love one another, when you love your neighbor, when you love everybody, it's very easy to do good through love. You cannot do good through anything outside of love. So he broke it down for us. Now, here in this passage, is trying to talk about Christians in general, trying to talk about you are not a complete Christian without going through that suffering. You're not a complete Christian without going through that trial. Even Jesus Christ said it, take up your cross and follow me. You cannot follow him without the cross. You cannot follow him without trials. You cannot follow him without challenges. But we need to pray to God every day to give us the strength we need, his grace, to pass through these trials, to pass through those tribulations, to pass through that suffering. Here it's talking about asking God without faith. You cannot have a plan B. I've seen someone do this. He has a plan B just in case the prayer doesn't work. What are you believing in? What are you praying for? Where is your faith? Now, if there is no faith in your prayer, you don't believe. And if you don't believe, why are you praying? Prayer comes with faith, belief, and patience. A lot of us don't have patience today. We pray and expect it to come tomorrow. We pray and expect it to come right now. Oh God, save me from this right now. If you don't do this right now, it doesn't work that way. You need to learn to pray, believe, have faith, and wait for God. I've seen someone tell me, oh, I've waited for 3 years, I've waited for 5 years. We don't understand that in the spiritual realm, there is no sense of time. It may take 2 years, it may take 3 years, but it will surely come. Another thing we saw in this passage was the fact that the humble, those in humble circumstances, which are those going through suffering, the poor, people going through challenges, they are called the high position, but the rich are called the low position. So believe me, if you are not rich, if you are not wealthy, if you have challenges, you should be joyous, you should be glad, you should be happy, because you are in a high position. You are on your way to glory. You are on your way to the resurrection. Now, I've heard Christians say, oh, God gave me a test. God tested me. I'm passing through this test right now from God. God does not give you test. He cannot test you. He will not test you, and he does not test. God has never ever tested anybody for anything. Rather, we are tested by our desires. Just like Jesus Christ, when he was hungry after his 40 days fasting in the desert, he was hungry. He was desiring to eat. The devil used that against him to tempt him. His desire to eat is what you desire that builds up temptation, that builds up trials. Sorry, not trials now, but temptation. The devil feasts on our desires, using them against us to create distractions, removing us away from our focus, removing us away from the things we should keep our minds on. So we should learn to keep our head straight, focus on that light at the end of this tunnel, focus on your riches after this life, focus on your life after here, because you are taking nothing out of this world. Why you do that, brothers and sisters? May God bless you, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Thank you. Bye bye.